Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Point of Disorder. I am your host, Norris Howard. Joined alongside me is
Adrienne.
I'm Julie.
And we got a jam-packed show for you today where we're going to be talking about the Officers Association of Michigan. We're going to be talking about, obviously, the tragedy that took place in Minneapolis over the past weekend and how the Democrats have been responding or not responding to it, as well as maybe some tips on what you should do if you encounter ICE yourself. We also want you to slide over to all of our social medias. That's at Point of Disorder, at The Guerrilla Politic, and at Distill Social. You can follow us on all your major platforms, be it X or Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, where you can see our beautiful faces.
That's right.
But we start with the Police Officers Association of Michigan. They put out a wild tweet today. Or yesterday, the other day.
Yeah, well, listen, I would just like to say that I'm glad to be back with you all this week, my fellow woke scum, to sit here and talk about all of the horrors that are coming at us every single day. So I saw this the other night when I was just scrolling through my Instagram feed, and the Police Officers Association of Michigan they're an endorser. They endorse, they back candidates, they advocate for policy. Obviously, police officers are part of this association, and somebody needs to take their fucking Twitter away from them or something, because this was what they posted. And this was coming from the Detroit News. So they had to apologize for this comment. In all caps, Ted Nugent just dropped a massive $100,000 bomb to feed starving ICE agents in woke Minneapolis. The Motor City Madman is flying in a metric ton of real Montana barbecue because these gutless, liberal-owned restaurants are straight up refusing to serve the heroes keeping illegals out of America. ICE agents are getting the cold shoulder and turned away in this sanctuary city shithole. So Ted said, fuck that. He's personally bankrolling enough ribs, brisket, pulled pork, and sausage to feed an army of real American warriors doing the dirty work the left hates. This is the ultimate middle finger to the anti-ICE open border mob that would rather coddle criminals than back the men and women protecting our country. Ted Nugent isn't just talking. He's delivering hot, smoky justice straight to the front lines in enemy territory. And then it kind of goes on and basically says, stick it to the woke scum, which is who we are, clearly. But yeah, so they had to be forced to apologize for this very lengthy post that they created.
Who forced them to apologize? This is kind of interesting because this, honestly, I'm not surprised by this.
The fucking Michigan Democrats said, the legislature said, you can't post this stuff. A lot of those folks who are Michigan Dems, elected officials, they tout their endorsements. And one of the ones that you see often is the Police Officers Association of Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, listen, first of all, this is one of the most chat GPT things ever.
Yes,
that's number one.
No police officer association of Michigan person was like, let me go on this diatribe.
No, but I will say this. Number one, I just don't like Ted Nugent mentioned anywhere.
No.
Anytime. But the reason why this resonated so heavily is because people deep down believe this is how a lot of police feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the part that made it so not necessarily funny, but so believable.
Yeah.
Right? It's talking about the woke scum and the sanctuary city shitholes and so on and so forth. And, when people were screaming about, police brutality and stuff, the ICE was not a part of that conversation. It was still the regular police. And so now that we have this sort of new enemy right now, people are conveniently forgetting that there's still very serious issues with your normal, regular rank and file police officers. And obviously we know there are police officers who are just regular folks, but also at the same time, when you see stuff like this, it's hard to not believe that the leadership and the apparatus of the police doesn't think that you are woke scum for not wanting to see protesters get shot in the back.
But it feels completely irrelevant to police. Like, it feels like, why would you even, like, why would the police association, like, write something around Ted Nugent going to, and the Michigan Association,
Right.
going to fucking Minnesota? It doesn't make any sense. There's no, like, I'm struggling to see the connection.
They're supposed to be representing thousands of police officers in the state as well. So when you send out messages like that, you're speaking on behalf of the thousands of these police officers. I actually learned a term last week that I didn't know existed.
Is this what you were doing while you were away?
This is what I was
Left
volunteering.
Norris and I by ourselves.
I left you alone by yourselves for 1 week, but I was volunteering last week with my staff at the Humane Society, and we started talking about this. But I did not know about ACAB.
What?
I didn't know. I did not know ACAB. Do you know what ACAB is?
No.
All cops are bastards.
Oh.
You didn't know that?
No, I did not know that.
Oh my God.
Listen, my ass grew up in Livonia.
No, I'm taking your revolutionary card.
Okay, sorry. I didn't know.
You can't be a real revolutionary talking about you didn't know what ACAB was.
Know what that ACAB was. Now I'm seeing it everywhere.
But do you think, I think what's interesting about this as well is, on top of that, the Minnesota police are getting really shitty about the fact that they feel like they were just kind of starting to, you know, rebrand over there and start to connect with the community. And they feel like ICE coming in and like doing all this shit is basically, you know, taking them back several steps.
It's undermined all their progress.
Yeah.
They brought in the new chief from I believe he's from Brooklyn. He's got a very heavy New York accent, and he's been on and doing interviews with folks about how he really came in to try to do more community policing and really get them involved, and they haven't been able to recruit officers either. So yeah, things like this, like Poam doing shit like this, it fucks everything up.
On top of that, I did see some of the Minnesota police officers groups basically coming out and saying, hey, you're arresting some of our people.
Yeah.
They're pulling over police officers that are off duty, only the brown ones, by the way.
Only the brown ones.
And so there's a whole lot of stuff going on over there, which is kind of pretty wild.
Yeah, pretty wild. And so obviously we have to talk about what happened last weekend, the murder of Alex Pretti. We're not going to go and relitigate the entire thing. We all saw the video. We all kind of know what happened. This week, however, there were new developments in the fact that the border commander, that was the title that he had, commander at large.
Who's cosplaying Nazis. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, he is apparently been removed from that position and told to go sit back at his desk. Sort of like my man at the end of One Battle After Another. Yeah. He's been told to kind of just quietly retire at his desk. And the borders are that, money in the bag man, Tom Holman, is now in Minneapolis, is going to be meeting with the governor as well as other leadership out there. The objective here, I guess, is to appear as if there's some sort of de-escalation, but according to reports on the ground in Minneapolis, ICE is continuing to do the same tactics. They are in virtually every neighborhood of Minneapolis. I actually just heard on NPR this morning, and it's optics,
right?
It's optics.
It is optics, but I think we should talk about what I see as the three major reasons behind this, like, push towards having better optics. And I want to point out that none of these reasons include justice or include the fact that anyone gives a shit about the fact that, you know, citizens of the United States are being murdered on the street. I think one of them is definitely the fact that it's supposed to be Melania week.
The movie, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about the stupid movie.
So ironically, this all happened, obviously the assassination murder happened on Saturday, and Melania's launch, or the preview launch, was to be at the White House on Saturday night. Okay? It still happened. People like fucking Tim Cook from Apple, the CEO from Amazon, these fucking tech bros still went along and watched this movie. I find that stunning.
Yeah.
Absolutely stunning.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't like.
They don't have any humanity.
The humanity is gone. Expecting any sort of, empathy from some of these people is an exercise in futility. But I do think it is hilarious. Speaking of the Melania film, apparently, if I was her, I'd be pretty upset with Mr. Trump.
Can you imagine the pillow talk?
Yeah.
Like you are married to an absolute asshole.
That's assuming they're ever in bed together, actually.
Yeah, no,
and I
there
don't
is no
think that's.
You're right.
Yeah,
you're
that's not
right.
actually
Let's
happening.
call it a text message, right?
Yeah,
Let's call it
you text your estranged husbands.
your text chain. But you're married to this absolute asshole. And I mean, number one, he's torn down the East Wing. So the portion of the home that belongs to her is
The part you were supposed to
down.
sleep in and hang out in
is gone.
Gone.
Number two, this is supposed to be Melania Week where her documentary is supposed to drop. And it's all been shat over by basically this happening, the assassination of a US citizen. This Thursday night was supposed to be the launch, basically the big premiere at the Trump Kennedy Center.
We don't need to call it that.
I called it Kennedy Center and everyone was like,
No,
it's
just the Kennedy Center. We're
It's
not
the
doing
Kennedy
that.
Center.
Okay,
Yeah,
Kennedy
yeah.
Center. That's supposed to be this Thursday night. Once again, been shat all over. But what I do want to say on top of that is none of this has helped the sales of the pre-sales of the tickets.
Tell us what's happening around the world.
Well, my interest is always my lens is always like, from the outside in. They have spent, as I understand it, $50 million globally on marketing this Melania documentary. So I've been getting messages for the last few days that they've started advertising on the normal, the Good Morning shows.
Mm-hmm.
They're having the previews run in the advertisements of these types of shows in Australia. They're running it in the UK. Like a shit ton of money's been spent on the advertising. Can either of you guess as to how many tickets have sold in Australia at the Hoyt cinemas, which are previewing, that are basically having this film run?
I mean, I don't know, maybe a few thousand, 2,000, 3,000 maybe.
Try one. One.
For the entire
the entire
country
of Australia.
and the population of Australia.
30 million.
I think that's amazing. I just looked it up here too, just for the United States, just like out of curiosity. And what I'm being told is that reports as of yesterday indicate that many locations have sold fewer than 10 tickets per screening, with some major cities showing almost no initial demand at all.
Well, in the UK, they've sold 7 tickets. So
This is great.
Who are those 7 people?
I know. Well, I know who the one person is in Australia.
Okay.
But no one's going to care about that.
Yeah.
So, Pauline Hanson or Gina Reinhart. Shout out, bitches. All of this is to say that she just wanted one thing, and that was to have this 1 week. 1 week.
Give me 1
and
week.
it's been shat all over. And I kind of feel like a lot of people in their relationships right now are probably looking at their husband, quite honestly, waking up in the morning and going, oh, fuck, in their little house in Livonia.
Yeah, this is why I'm not married.
And going, oh, fuck, you voted for this.
You know what?
You
'Cause
voted for this.
I want to ask this because I guess, I've been married before, but politics was not a thing that we argued about. We were very aligned politically.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my question to the two of you and also to our greater audience is, what kind of conversations are you having? Because I know there are some people who have spouses who voted the other way, and some of them got to be feeling really different right now. Because I think all the way up until what happened in Minneapolis, both a few weeks ago and over the past weekend, you could at least go, it's not happening here. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
They just taking away illegal aliens. Just
deporting the criminals.
Just deporting the criminals. And now you see what's happening. There's got to be a deep conversation happening in a lot of households right now.
You know what? I don't know that there is, because I think it's too hard to do that. Like, I think that would be a very difficult conversation. So I think that there would be just a lot of cold shoulder, quite honestly, and a lot of bitching behind the scenes. A lot of marriages like that. They just go on lay back and think of the queen. Or think of the queen, whatever you want to do.
Right.
Literally, it's just like, how do I need to keep my health care. And I've always said that one of the biggest issues, how do I keep my health care? I can't divorce this prick, even though he's a complete asshole, because I need health care for my kids. I need to be able to feed my kids. Trump's economy, how on earth could you turn around and say, I'm going to go and do this by myself?
Right.
Like, there's just no safety net for women generally, or people generally in that sort of circumstance. So I think that's a big issue. But I think on top of that, Norris, is that even if you're in a situation where your husband or your partner, your significant other, did not vote for him. I think that right now, and I feel this quite deeply with the people that I see around, that women are feeling this quite viscerally.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
we're in a lot of
been.
pain.
Yeah.
We're in a lot of pain. And men generally are able to sort of like sweep that away more easily and be a bit more, look, just focus on what we need to do. Focus on, getting the kids to school. Focus on, making sure that we've got food on the table. That stuff doesn't impact us right now. And I think there's a lot of that going on with couples around the country.
I mean, to answer that, I've never been in a serious relationship with anyone who I didn't agree with politically because my values need to align. I mean, my ex-husband, very big Bernie supporter, very big liberal. The person I'm currently dating, also very, very far left, and he's kind of beside himself. So I've never been in that personal position. I do know I do have people in my life who are partnered with or have very close family relationships with people who did vote for Trump. And their answer has really been they just avoid it. They avoid talking about it. They avoid it altogether. I think, kind of take it back to what you were just saying, Julie, about I just don't want to pay attention, or let's just keep things kind of as is. I think that status quo was kind of blown up by what happened to Alex Pretti, because you're talking about a cis, white, gun-carrying VA nurse man. And that's what kind of has changed the optics around. And now, are they going to come for the white man too, right? And I know we've talked on this pod a lot about this, and a lot of us are very well aware, this is what Black and brown communities have been putting up with for eons, right? Since the beginning of time is people being shot and killed by police who are unarmed even. So the fact that it's now a white man that's bringing it even closer to home, because now you're killing the white men too.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I've always felt that was a element to this that it's only been, as of recording, a few days.
Right.
Whereas even now we can feel the difference in rhetoric, not just from the community, but also from electeds, also from law enforcement,
mainstream media,
also from mainstream media, is even different than from when Renee Good was shot.
And she was a lesbian woman.
Of course.
So, of course, okay. And then, I mean, that also goes back to the fact that you've got, and I'll just pick on Natalie Holloway's case and her disappearance, right? When it's the blonde white woman and she goes and disappears, that it's all the media coverage everywhere.
Yep.
This is kind of a bigger shift to that now, because now the violence is being perpetrated against a man and a white man and a straight man, right? So that's who gets the privilege. But now that the most privileged at the literal top of the pyramid is getting attacked, then all of the storytelling completely changes.
Yeah, it crumbles in on itself. And
Can I just talk about the next point? So I think it's Melania that is a portion of the pivot, or the the facade of a pivot that Trump's done. The next one, I think, is the NRA.
Oh, that was huge.
This is a massive part of getting fucking blowback. I mean, if you think my version of America that I've always sort of, the optics that I've seen is that you literally, babies being murdered at school is not a deal breaker, because you are all so fucking wedded to your guns.
the guns, yes.
Under the premise that it's to protect yourselves from a tyrannical government. So basically, if the government comes in, that you'll be protected. That's the premise that the Second Amendment, as I understand it, has always been sort of based on.
Yes.
This feels like a complete fucking pivot to that.
It is.
So
Well,
I'll hand it over to you to talk about
we
that.
have talked about this before with the total horseshoeing of our values and policy and all of that stuff. And I think you had posted something recently too, Norris, about the Gatlin flag.
Oh, the Gaston flag.
Or the Gaston flag. Gaston flag. Right.
Yeah.
But now liberals are basically putting up "Don't Tread on Me" flags. So it wasn't even just the NRA, the whole 2A crowd. So when we say 2A, this is Second Amendment supporters, right? They're right to keep and bear arms. The national party chair for the Libertarian Party, which Let's all just be real. Like they always say it's Republicans who want to smoke pot, libertarians.
Yeah.
His name is Stephen Nikala. He even came out before the NRA with a statement saying, abolish ICE. Like, this is tyranny. This is ridiculous.
But I mean, if you are a true blue libertarian and you truly believe in small government, this is the exact opposite of what you stand on.
Right.
Right. And for many people, he hasn't gone out and said abolish ICE, but you look at
did.
somebody. No, I'm saying
Oh.
the person I'm about to say is like Rand Paul.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Like Rand Paul has been pretty consistent in his, pseudo libertarian streak, and has been one of the first people on the right to be like, y'all, this is murder. You can't do this.
Because I think the irony about it all is their defense of it has basically been, well, he was armed, so therefore we can shoot him because he was armed. Dudes, the whole fucking this whole like Second Amendment is on the basis that you're supposed to be using the guns to fight against a government coming in and taking away the rights of citizens.
Yeah, and on top of that,
It doesn't make any sense.
and on top of that, we're talking about Minnesota. Y'all, he was probably not the only person armed there.
No,
There's a
of course
lot of
not.
people
There's a
armed
lot
there
of people who
that
are armed.
you are allowed to, peaceably assemble. And yes, if you have a permit, you have the right in a open carry state to carry your weapon. Now, I have all kinds of thoughts about that, but that the point is, we also had Fox News coming out and arguing. So when Trump is over here at Melania's release party in DC at the White House, where he never even is right now because he's at Mar-a-Lago every weekend anyway.
Yeah, no, he
And
stayed. He
was
did go.
here,
Yeah.
and he's got like the news just on blast. Like, and Fox News, his own like vain propaganda arm is saying that this is against the Second Amendment and this is wrong. Of course he's going to do an about face. Now he's got to run over to Iowa.
But it's not an about face,
No, it's
though.
not.
Like, that's the
Yeah.
thing.
Well,
is,
pretend
It's
about
a
face.
yeah,
facade.
it's a facade
Yeah.
because the raids haven't stopped. People are still being taken. I just read a story yesterday about a pregnant woman being, the back of her head being kneeled on as she was being handcuffed and taken away. Like, none of this is changing.
Yeah.
And the part that's frustrating and irritating and disheartening and it makes me angry is the fact that nobody is getting their due process. Alex didn't get his.
No.
Renee didn't get hers. None of the people who are being abducted are getting theirs. And I don't know how many times we have to tell people it does not matter if you are a citizen or not.
Right.
It does not matter. Every human being within the borders of the United States is guaranteed due process. Period.
The Constitution protects everybody who's here.
Period.
It's a blanket document.
It's not even that there's no due process. There's not going to be any investigation into any of this.
No.
So this is like basically they've come out. You mentioned Fox News a minute ago.
Yeah.
Fox News basically for the first 48 hours after the murder were basically he's a terrorist.
They told
he's
the party
this.
line,
They
yeah.
did. They did. I mean, these pricks don't
Yeah,
learn
yeah.
that they're basically. I would be if I was his family. I would be and
Sue,
I would be
Sue,
sue.
Sue.
Yeah.
Lawyer up, lawyer up. Now, the third thing,
Yeah.
this facade of a turnaround, I think is really interesting, is the CEOs. The CEOs of corporations that are based in Minnesota basically did a strongly worded letter.
So Target.
It was Target, 3M, General Mills, Best Buy, United Health were some of the CEOs that actually wrote this
Big
letter.
employers out
They
there.
are.
anyway.
And I mean, I suppose the message that I want to send to Michigan, because here in Michigan we have a shit ton of like huge American companies that are incredibly well known. And I want to know what they're doing because at the moment they're in Minnesota, but dollars to donuts, they'll be coming to Detroit and to Michigan.
They're already here. They're
already
just
here.
not shooting people.
They're just not shooting people, but it will happen. It will happen. Those 2,000, 2,000 ICE agents or 3,000 ICE agents that are in Minnesota, they've got to find somewhere else to go eventually. So I want to do a shout out to Henry Ford Health System. Side note, they pulled their recognition of the MLK Day this year, so that's happening.
Okay.
Ford, obviously, we know all about Ford. General Motors, Kellogg's, Amway, Dow Chemical, Pfizer. These are all Michigan companies that are very well known. Their CEOs have a shit ton of power, and I want to know what they're doing to help protect prior to all of this starting to happen. So fucking get your pens out, start to write that harshly worded letter right now. Get off, stop sucking up to this prick and start to stand up to him, because we're all in the gun at this point.
And it needs to be said that those CEOs and those big companies spoke out, because on Friday in Minneapolis was a massive, walkout demonstration.
Correct.
And those demonstrations have continued since the murder of Alex. I want to get Pretti. Excuse me.
Pretti.
Since the murder of Alex Pretti, and they've been losing money. It's as simple as that. These companies have been losing money because people are not buying, people are not going to work, and people are in the streets protesting, and that's bad for business. So it is pretty much as simple as that. Before we move off of this, we've been very critical of Gretchen Whitmer for not saying anything about ICE.
She did, though.
But she has come out and given a
days
statement.
ago. She did give a statement on Sunday that was what I could call tepid. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I know I'm getting pushback on the socials for holding her to account on this, but right now, I don't think what people realize is obviously all of our eyeballs are on Minnesota and what's happening in Minneapolis. And prior to that, it was what was happening in North Carolina and Chicago and Portland. And so the eye of Sauron can move, okay? Excuse my Lord of the Rings reference.
It doesn't just look at me, there's Tirith. It
like,
looks
don't look at me.
all over.
Eye of Sauron is going to move, right?
Yeah.
So I need my elected officials to just be a little firmer about what are you going to do if ICE decides to come here, right? Right now, ICE raids are happening at bus stops in Ypsilanti. People trying to get to work. They don't have cars. Maybe they don't have licenses because of the...
Well, they can't have licenses.
Right,
We know people that are undocumented
Right.
in Michigan don't have access
So
to a license.
they're trying to get to work and they're using public transportation and they're doing ICE raids in Ypsilanti right now. And also in Ypsilanti, Willow Run Airport, if you're familiar with a small regional airport in Ypsi, that's where these ICE flights are quietly disappearing people out of Michigan.
Yes, because they don't fly out of Metro.
They're not going to take them out of Metro because too many people can see that. So they're taking them out of Willow Run. So it's happening here too. There was no statement that she made that was saying that ICE is bad, that these people need more training, that we need to vet these officers, let alone she's definitely not going to say abolish ICE. We know she's not going to say that. That's not her brand. But even just to say, hey, we need more accountability for these folks. We need to hold the officers, the ICE agents accountable who shot Alex Pretti, because it wasn't just one, it was two.
It was two.
Two of them shot him.
Yeah.
And where's the investigation and holding them to account versus like, okay, yes, our thoughts and prayers are with, Minnesota and the people of Minnesota. Great. But where's the accountability? Where's holding that
And
up?
this is happening up and down. Norris and I last week, when you were, it was just, you left the two of us just basically sitting here by ourselves.
I had things going on last week.
Going on.
My dad's like, are you not on the podcast anymore? And I'm like, it was your granddaughter's birthday and I took the day off.
So when Norris and I were left with the keys, we had a discussion about Barack Obama and the fact that he hadn't come out
That's
at that
right.
point and said anything. I reckon he must have listened to our pod last
He
week,
does.
which drove him to make a statement, which quite honestly was milquetoast as well after after the murder of Pretti on the weekend.
Yeah, and the thing with Barack Obama is I also on specifically the case of immigration, I think it is pretty difficult for him to have the moral high ground on, which also is something that I didn't mention last week, but massive amounts of deportations during the Obama administration. Now, obviously, people were not necessarily being shot and, abducted in these sort of visceral ways. But
some constitutional rights were maybe being used.
Some.
Due process?
A little.
Question mark?
A little bit.
Agents weren't hiding their faces?
Yeah, that was a big thing.
Yeah.
Is that you at least could see, oh no,
There was accountability.
this
from
is
that
this is
perspective,
ICE.
yeah.
So I think it was difficult for him to really say much about it, and I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm saying it's just politically astute to maybe wait until it got real bad before you say anything, and it got real bad. But the thing that I want to talk about here is, and I'm glad we talked about Governor Whitmer, because we got another sort of Obama era centrist type person that is visiting Michigan, and that is the former White House chief of staff and ambassador to Japan and former mayor of Chicago, Rahm Emanuel. He's going to be coming to Michigan, invited by the Michigan House Devs, where he's talking about public education and a bunch of other stuff.
I hope he's not talking about public education.
Yeah.
He's very anti-public education, as it turns out.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I heard.
There's a lot of this is a really interesting one, Norris, and I'm glad you brought it up because honestly, if you look on social media, the responses by people as to him coming, the Michigan House Dems bringing him to Michigan, and there's no doubt that he's obviously looking for a run for president for 2028.
the waters.
Dip the toes in the water.
Dip
Yeah.
the toes.
But the responses online have been fucking fierce. People are not excited about this dude. I've got no idea why the Michigan House Dems will bring him for a number of reasons. So he has openly spoken about the fact that, privatizing public education and going to the voucher system, he's spoken about that.
Which is, I just want to add, like one of our Democratic Party here in Michigan's top issues, because we always talk about DeVos and we always talk about how she's literally the worst and she's trying to get school vouchers and she's all about charter schools. Rahm Emanuel aligns fairly closely with Betsy DeVos.
Absolutely.
On this issue.
On this issue.
Yeah.
Oh, it's mind-blowing.
And his comments around the LGBTQ community are also like, let's just say milquetoast at best, like very much leaning into kind of like the anti-trans, the anti-LGBTQ, there has been a lot of conversations around that as well. And people on social media have even pulled out some of his memos to Clinton back in 1996 about basically, it's fair to say he would be our democratic deportation czar. That's what he looks like. He's very much into deporting people.
He's very problematic,
immigrants.
very
Yes.
polarizing, and for the the Michigan House Dems are the ones bringing him in. Like, come on, y'all.
Tone deaf.
What the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah.
I just think right now, like if you're not bringing in somebody that is going to speak specifically to the ICE situation right now, what are you doing?
Or just the moment in general.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like the
Like-
moment we're in.
Yeah, and that's the part that doesn't sit right with me. Is there a point in time in which somebody like a Rahm Emanuel could come to Michigan and talk their particular brand of politics? Absolutely.
Not to the Dems.
But not right now.
Well, in general, not to the Dems ever. You're talking about a person who is anti-public schools.
Yeah.
And this is supposed to be one of the tenets and the tent pole of the party, and your priorities is public schools, and you trot it out every single election cycle, and you're going to bring this guy in? No. Send him. He can go be Republicans. He can be a Republican talking head.
You can go to fucking Iowa.
He can go to Iowa. Goodbye. No, thank you. Like, I don't need, losing more and more respect every single day.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to that. But yeah, they continue to fucking roll out these moderate Dems. And it's like, you know what, like you said, this is not the time for it, Norris. I agree. It's never the fucking time for it.
No.
I'm with you, Adrienne.
No.
Well, speaking of moderate Dems and never the time for weakness, the Democrats in the House that have voted for more ICE funding, the vote happened the day before
The day before the shooting.
the shooting.
Yeah.
And complete example of how your government does things and they have results.
Yep.
Yeah.
So obviously we know that there's a deadline for the special budget around ICE that has to be approved by the 30th.
It's a funding bill.
It's a funding bill.
By Friday.
And the limit is on Friday.
Yep.
The House passed it, and a number of Democrats split and went with the Republicans and voted for this
Seven
bill.
of them.
So read them out, Adrienne.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to just give props to whoever put this on our scratch pad today. Centrism rolls out the red carpet for fascism. Thank you. I don't know who I should give credit to for that writing, but
That was me.
Good job. I love that because it's absolutely true. These centrist assholes rolled out the red carpet for fascism, and then literally the next day, Alex Pretti was shot, massacred in the street. So these weak as piss Dems that voted to give ICE more money, I don't know. I'm probably going to butcher all their names. Rep. Marie Glusenkamp Perez,
Yep.
Vincente Gonzalez from Texas, Jared Golden from Maine, Laura Gillen from New York, or Gillen, Don Davis, North Carolina, Henry Cooler, Texas, Cuellar, okay, whatever, Cuellar, whatever your fucking name is, you're a centrist, go away. Tom Suzy in New York, okay? So it's all obviously worth noting that, you know, our senators, so those were representatives in the House of Representatives, our senators are now going to be no votes on this DHS spending bill that's going to be coming through.
But just to point out that Gary Peters, up until the murder on the weekend,
Was a yes.
he was a yes.
Right.
Yeah, and right now, obviously, the entire funding bill is in jeopardy because some independents and even some on the right have come out and said, "I'm unsure about
Enough's
this."
enough.
The
Enough's
optics
enough.
of this are really
The
bad for me
optics
in
of
an
this are
election
really
year.
Exactly. And you know, again, though, ICE has enough funding more than every other enforcement agency from the federal government combined by a lot.
And it also has more funding than all military
Anywhere else.
in the world except for the United States.
Except for
This
US.
is why we can't have nice things.
That's
You want to
right.
keep telling us we can't afford universal health care or Medicare for all. Well, we're fucking funding all this ICE stuff.
Yeah.
You can't have universal pre-K because of ICE. You want to start cutting people's Medicaid and Medicare because of ICE. Like these
Food
are
for
our
children.
tax dollars.
No.
This is
ICE.
money
USAID,
that I am spending.
no.
No, like literally, this is money that I am spending as a business owner because I'm also paying payroll taxes every 2 weeks. I'm paying personal income taxes every year, and my business pays taxes every quarter.
Yep.
So no. This is not what I want to be spending my money on. So I'm absolutely happy, and I think every single one of our listeners out there needs to call their representatives, their senators, and say absolutely not, because right now they're listening. They're listening to you when
They
you
are.
call, because this is an election year for them.
And
they
we
want
did this. We did this last week. Distill Social. We did a big call out last week, and yet it absolutely helped.
It does.
I just need to note, because I think we cannot ignore the fucking fact that Kristi Noem, Stephen Miller, all of these fucking
The Antichrist.
the Antichrist, all of these people behind, you know, the wizards behind the curtain. Well, Noem is not so much behind the curtain, but just to remind everybody that only 7 Dems voted for Noem to be confirmed, thank you. And they included Alyssa Slotkin and Gary Peters, our very own. I mean, how are you feeling now, guys? It just reminds us that we do have power. We've got to fucking hold these people, the feet to the fire of these people. Kristi Noem was never a good fucking appointment.
No.
The bitch shot her own puppy in the head.
Yeah.
And wrote about it. This is this woman, this was never, ever, ever going to be a good choice. Also, she's sleeping with Corey Lewandowski. I mean, that's enough too.
What?
Yeah, you didn't
Yeah,
know
you
that.
didn't know that?
Anyway.
No, I didn't know that.
A bit
Yeah,
of
but
side gossip in
also,
here.
Holy shit.
and now also there's allegedly infighting, particularly between her and Miller.
Yeah.
Because she's basically thrown Miller and Trump under the bus and said everything I'm doing is under the direction
Correct.
of Donald Trump and Stephen Miller.
Right.
That's right.
And y'all,
He's
they're
just a
already
bystander.
They're already rolling out that I was following orders.
Right.
They're
Oh, yeah.
already preparing.
I was following orders.
But do you know who's really pissed is Susie Wiles.
Yes.
Susie Wiles is pissed with all of them. There's a whole lot of you can imagine, I'd love to be a little fly on the wall in there. Imagine last Saturday night at that stupid fucking
Premiere.
premiere.
She's got those eyes.
Oh
Oh
my
my
God.
I so want to be
Yeah.
there.
Well,
Anyway.
Adrienne, you and I would say are we talk a lot off air, and we talk a lot about criminal mischief,
Not ours, other people's.
other people's criminal mischief, and I gotta say, in Minneapolis, They've shown off some of the most creative ways to non-violently resist ICE. Every town has done it differently. That's the cool part. You know, Portland decided to cosplay their way out of it.
That was great.
And Minneapolis is, just freezing everything as ones want to do.
Exactly.
So you brought to us a fantastic list of things of how you can do your part in protecting your neighbors from extrajudicial jailings.
Yes. So I can't take credit for this. I was scrolling through Instagram as one does on a Tuesday night, and this is from Design Mom. So she's got a lot of followers. She actually is based in France because she said fuck this shit and left the United States.
Good on her.
And she's just like, she does interior design and lifestyle shit. But she's definitely taken things to more of a political slant, which I love. And she kind of went on this tirade about like, if you're a MAGA, don't follow me. Like, I don't need you. Like, it was fantastic. But then she also found like ways, like she asked her people, her followers, what are some hilarious and creative ways that we can try to subvert ICE and this fascist government in this moment? And some of the ones that I read were, the first one was actually from I think she's the executive director of Run for Something. And Run for Something does not work with congressional or federal candidates. They work with statewide candidates. But she said, hey, listen, the best thing that you could do right now if you want to run is primary all the Democrats who voted to fund ICE.
But we know that. I'm
Right.
trying to get to
How can we do it?
Yeah,
we?
what about
Well,
us?
you should run, right? You should absolutely run.
I can't run.
You could totally primary,
Sri Tanadar.
Sri Tanadar. Well, he.
I got my own hair,
Yeah,
so that's
you
a
got your
benefit.
own hair. Okay, so one of my personal favorites was someone had written in and said that they deliberately feed ICE the wrong information and send them to like the Maha houses,
Okay,
so
that's
that
funny.
like the Make America Healthy Again nut jobs.
Yeah.
And he
and then they all get measles.
right, like
That's right. It's got a double whammy.
Yeah.
your local favorite right-wing podcaster, and then your local MAGA neighbors. So any neighbors who are still like flying Trump flags and stuff, they know who they are, and they're sending ICE to their houses, which is like, what was that thing called where people like call in the police on you, like the SWAT team?
Swatting,
So
yeah.
it's kind of like swatting. And then this one's super petty, and I love it, and I think anybody could do this.
Okay.
So anyone in your social media who's out there celebrating what ICE is doing, celebrating, Alex Pretti's death or Renee Good's death, screenshot that shit. Screenshot what they're doing and send it to their employers. Find their asses on LinkedIn. Like, everyone's connected. You can find everything
Yeah,
on
that's
social
true.
media. This is the kind of person you're employing. They're out here praising ICE and the murder of innocent Americans.
But see, you gotta watch out for that one though, because some of these people work for people that also are praising these.
Your
folks,
ass
so
a
you
burner
gotta-
account.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I will
Do
tell
it anyway.
you though, I have noticed on social media, I've spent way too much time on social media this week, and the one thing I have noticed is in these community groups, I'm stunned at how many people, even on Facebook, and Facebook to me is like kind of like feels like a weirdly moderate old
cesspool.
people.
Yes,
It's an old
yes.
people, thing.
Yeah.
No offense to my parents,
Yeah.
but they're on Facebook. They need to get off of there.
So I have noticed how many community groups are including, like, people are going on there and having rants about how much they, support Trump and they support what's happening on fucking community groups.
Yeah.
It's like weird.
Like
that
Nextdoor.
people-
They're doing it on Nextdoor,
Like,
too.
people are just wagging their dick out there. Like, they're just telling everyone I'm a complete asshole.
Right.
Like, that's kind of weird.
Screenshot that
So
shit.
the information is very much available.
Yeah.
Like, it's not new. There've always been people who've celebrated this kind of stuff. Like it is what it is. I one of my favorites. Here's what I think. Right, because if you join ICE, what that tells me is that you broke as fuck. Right.
Oh, yes.
So because it tells me, right, they're doing no background checks, they doing no reference checks. You don't even really have to take a real drug test. So basically, you telling me that like these are low key some loser ass people. So what I think is instead of trying to appeal to humanity, I just think we need to clown them as hard as possible, right? And what you should do is you should pull up in the most expensive car, right? And you should say, even with that bonus, you can't get this.
Oh my God, that's petty.
It's so
And just
petty.
stun on them, right? Because y'all gotta understand. Okay, I come from a community. We gonna stunt, just like my man, the one veteran that had his fur on. Yeah, he showed up with his fur on. I think everybody should come in their most expensive
Gold
shit.
chain.
Yeah.
The chains, the
Like, I didn't have to
furs,
sell my soul.
red bottoms, just to be like, dude, I sat in the office and got this.
Right.
And you gotta run and knock people over the head. Damn, what's going on with you? That's crazy. That's what I think. I think we need to stunt on all ICE officers, all that. Man.
Okay.
That's my suggestion.
Another one that I saw was unmasking these people. So
Yeah.
like letting people know like who they actually are. So if you know someone who's an ICE officer, broadcast that shit. There was a website that was actually up as well. It's called ICE List.
Yeah, it's being taken down by
Yeah.
all the major social media
social
companies.
media is not allowing anyone to actually to post this ICE List,
Yeah.
but
And to be fair, that is doxing.
Yeah,
And it
well,
is
it's-
against the TOS.
it's a doxing situation.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've all been doxed, right? Like if you're gonna hide
Many
behind a
ti-
mask,
Many times.
Yeah,
but you're
true.
hiding behind a mask.
Yeah.
Like take your mask off.
I do love this last one because I've
Yes.
seen this in many places, Adrienne.
Yes, that's for you.
Sending 1% of the voter rolls to Bondi. So Pam Bondi, part of all this negotiation has been that they want to get the voter roll from Minnesota. We will leave Minnesota, Bondi has said.
We just need everybody's
We
personal
just need
information.
everyone's personal. We need all of
We
your
want to
voters.
see how everybody voted.
Correct. We want your voter roll, which is at the end of the day, that's what they're trying to do,
Right.
right? All of this is basically to fuck with the election this year.
Mm-hmm.
When you peel it all back, that's what it's all about. So basically, if Tim Walz was to send the entire voter roll to Bondi, but with only 1% unredacted.
So basically, the page number.
Correct.
Yeah, it would be like the page number, name, address, city, and
All
then
black.
or send only the MAGA voters.
Only the MAGA voters.
Because just a reminder, it's been a long time since we were supposed to see the Epstein files.
Yes,
That's right.
Epstein
this is all to
files.
stop us fucking
I
talking
mean, we
about
also
that as well.
kidnapped the Venezuelan president a
I
couple
know,
weeks ago,
I
and
know.
Trump was saying yesterday that he's gonna invade Iran. So like
It's-
other shit's still happening.
It's still fucking January, people.
Release the files.
Only
bro.
January,
Release
man.
the files. That's all this is about. Is release the files. I think also again, my last thing about how to resist ICE in terms of when they come into your town is also, I don't want to say ignore them, but like I've yet to see a whole city just go underground. Like what happens if ICE rolls into town and there's just no one there?
Yeah.
That everyone's just left.
Everyone's just left.
Yeah.
What would that look like?
I mean, that would be interesting logistically, but like, I mean, that's what I think about Minneapolis is that they've been able to keep these mutual aid networks alive that they've had in place, for many years since I think even before the George Floyd protests.
yeah, it was before that.
Yeah, like that, but they're able to support and help people who are too afraid to leave their homes right now, can't go to work. That's been what has given me a lot of hope is just the blueprint that Minneapolis has given to the rest of us that you can resist this. And Norris and I talked the other day when all of this happened, and he called me and I was like crying. It was ugly. It was ugly crying. It was really ugly crying in the
You
bathroom.
could never ugly
Oh,
cry.
I love you for saying that, but it was ugly crying. There was a lot of ugly crying. But you said, Norris, and like it really stuck with me. And I wrote a whole blog post about it for Gorilla, is like you don't have to do everything in this movement and in this moment, but you can find your place, like no matter how big or small. And there are rules for everyone. And those mutual aid networks are so very important right now when we need community, when we need to embrace each other to get through this, to get through the next couple years of this, and hopefully not beyond. But that's what we really need. I think the main point is that we are not powerless. We can actually do something. We can take back control. So some of the things that we had talked about, Norris, I don't know if I captured them quite as eloquently as you did because I was ugly crying so much. But one of the things that I know that my role is, and it really helped kind of reframe where I'm at, is that I'm a storyteller. The three of us in this room, the five of us in this room, really, because you guys can't see our producers off camera, we're shaping stories, we're bringing you information, and that's really important. We're not the news. I always like to reiterate that, but we're here to kind of give you our perspective and what we're seeing. And if you can shape a story, then you can shape reality. And I know that the right has been doing that a lot for the last decade plus. The other people in this movement are the foot soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
These are the people on the ground every single day. And it may not be protests. You may not be a protest person.
And some of this stuff is you can be a foot soldier simply around your own community.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of this, I've noticed this a lot. Like I do regular catch-ups with different community groups that I've developed over my time here. And people are just looking for a safe space. They're looking for somewhere that they can go, that they don't have to take in all the information. They don't have to take it all on board because we can't. Like it's not
It's
possible.
not possible, yeah.
No one has big enough shoulders, not even you, Norris, to be able to carry all of this. So I think you're absolutely right. This community thing and bringing in it's I once a month I grab a group of about 30, 40 women and we get together and just have happy hour once a month, and that is simply everyone taking their job. Okay, so I'm going to do this. Okay, well, I'm doing this. So it's like that kind of not carrying it all, that you can basically break it all down. How do you eat an elephant bit by bit by bit?
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and for me, I was raised in that tradition. I mean, growing up in Detroit, there's a number of social groups and nonprofits, and I think about even the little after school programs that I went to growing up that were all about pro-blackness and raising young kids up to feel very proud. And it all comes out of that tradition of like the original real Black Panthers, of everything starts with education, telling people what your rights are. And then they would do stuff like teach people how to properly bear firearms. They would teach the kids how to read because the schools were crumbling and falling apart. They would feed the children because free lunch programs were not a thing back then. So, for me, people found roles in the community that didn't depend on either some government official telling them that's what their role was, or, some podcast or whatever. It's like, we can do it for ourselves. We just got to give people the confidence to be able to say, hey, you love cooking.
Yeah.
Why not just cook for the people who are out there? Why not just cook for the people at the meetings and do that because you love it?
And even, we in our community have people that are undocumented immigrants. I have in my community. And I've got so many of my friends and neighbors that are like taking food to them. Like there's that stuff, like really practical shit that is not like protesting. It's just simply, I want to be practical. I want to be able to save these people by not risking their lives by having to go to the grocery
And
store.
giving them
I
dignity.
will do that for.
And giving
Exactly.
people dignity.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, it's about that too.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think the goal of authoritarianism systems is paralysis, and we're all starting to feel that, and we all start to feel powerless. But in reality, we're not. And history tells us that we don't have to be. When we think about the French resistance, when we think about the civil rights movement, and to me, participating in this conversation, doing the work is the antidote to that. So you don't have to be everything. You don't have to save the world. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to find your place.
Yeah, 1,000%. And speaking of community, Julie, we got a great note from a listener that we definitely wanted to share with you all.
We do. Last Thursday, I'm like you. I haven't kind of turned to ugly crying yet, but I just get ugly angry probably. I feel like I might be dead inside at this point in terms of my crying. But we did receive an email last Thursday, which just gave me so much joy. And it's really occasionally you just kind of have to look for this, look for the cracks. That's where the light gets in, as my dad used to say. A lady called Patty sent us an email to let us know that her dad had passed away that previous Tuesday. And this was a note from her. We wanted to include Distill Social as one of his in lieu of flowers donation options. My father not only supported Distill Social and flaunted a lot of your stickers, but anti-fascism is something that he instilled into all of us children. For this reason, we feel that asking to donate to Distill Social in his honour is very important to us. Now, I just want to point out that this gentleman's name was James Miller, and I would like to first of all say thank you, Paddy, and all of his kids that have so kindly, having lost my dad recently, I know how important this type of thing is. Where you spend money is incredibly important. It's important to honour the wishes and the passions that our loved ones have. So I'm really, really grateful for that. But I just want to speak for a minute about James Miller, Paddy's dad. She said that my dad was an IBEW 58 Detroit journeyman and a true Michigander through and through. He went the LCA and Booker Building, Motor City Casino, or even past the Marathon plant down I-75. My dad helped make all of those things possible. So I just want to say thank you, Paddy. Thank you, James. And all hope is not lost. We have people out there that are willing to basically stand up and do the little things that count. So.
Yeah. Well, on that note, we thank you all for listening, and we will be back next week. Don't forget to check us out on all of our social media platforms. Again, that's at Point of Disorder, at The Guerrilla Politic, and at Distill Social. I'm your host, Norris.
Hey, thanks everyone for being here.
Bye.
See you next Thursday. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Point of Disorder. We'd like to extend a huge thank you to everyone who listened today. And if you like us, give us a like, a subscribe, or a review on any place you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Distill Social and at The Guerrilla Politic. This is the Point of Disorder podcast, signing off. Stay sharp, stay progressive, and above all, stay tuned.